gentle viewers.
Hello, welcome to the archive.
Hello. A place where we'll all write. We've all decided the top 5 of something, and we then hash it out to try and make a definitive top 5 of whatever we're talking.
And that is the only top 5 that matters for the year.
Full stop. But we might start off with a tough one though, because you and I have 2 different opinions about this topic, which is superhero films.
Yes, it is. I'm going to list all the comic book / superhero films that we've had this year of the glorious year that was 2017. So, we had Logan, Lego Batman, Wonder Woman, the Power Rangers movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Kingsman The Golden Circle, Thor Ragnarok, Justice League, and that gem that was Inhumans. So what we're going to do is Sam and myself are going to go backwards and forwards.
Yep.
He's going to say his number 5, I'll say my number 5. We'll go down the list and we'll give a brief explanation for why we put it at that number.
Yeah.
Then between the pair of us, we have to come up with a definitive number 5.
Yes.
Top 5.
The only problem with this particular topic is we're in both fans of almost the other sides of the spectrum when it comes to
I'm a fan of good comic book movies.
So am I. So
let's start things off. Your number 5. What's a number 5?
My number 5 is it's gone off. I think my number 5 is Wonder Woman. It has to be on the list because it was a good start for a female-led superhero film, a proper one, and the story was at most consistent. It was the character was fun to watch. I did find some problems in it overall, so I don't think it can definitively be the best superhero film this year. But it was one of the best things DC has done in a long while, and it deserves recognition for that.
See, I agree with you that it should be on the list. I put it a lot higher than you would. You'll be surprised at where I put it actually. It's not number 1, I can tell you that. My number 5 is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Oh, now this is the thing. I have not put that on this list. Purposely.
I think I've put one on the list that I've left one off the list that you've put on the list.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 for me, it was a good film. It was a decent follow-up to the first one. I enjoyed quite a lot of the character moments. I liked the development that they did with Yondu and Rocket.
Yeah.
I felt Peter's story was good, even though it was detrimental to the rest of the film.
Yeah.
I thought that was good. So that is why it's good, but it's not my favourite. It lands solidly on the list.
That's fair enough.
So, your number 4.
My number 4, if I can get it back up, is... I wanted to do this right. Is the Lego Batman movie.
Okay, yeah.
It feels like it feels like an excuse to just mention this film more than it being a good superhero film, because but it is the best version of Batman we've had this year.
I'm just remembering what you don't know, dear listener. We've done a pilot where we review the Lego Batman movie. Yeah, and that will never air.
What was wrong with it? I've forgotten it now.
It was just because we were trying to work out the kinks on it, but that's beside the point.
Yeah. But I like that the Lego Batman film was a really fun, strong. It was a strong storyline. It managed to be a massive love letter to the whole of the Batman franchise, as well as being a good follow-on to the Lego movie. It did one thing I never realized I ever wanted, which is I want all of my bad guys in the same film. For that alone, saying that Batman's got the greatest rogues gallery. Now let's put his rogues gallery versus the whole of the rogues gallery of everyone ever.
I can't argue with that. It didn't make it on the list. It is my honourable mention because there are a couple that I liked more. I just loved the Lego Batman movie just because it's so crazy and mad, but it didn't quite make it on the list.
Fair enough.
Because at number 4, landing lower than I probably expected it at the start of the year, is Justice League.
Oh, I thought it would it would turn up on your list.
See, I mean, that Dan's watched it. He says he's underwhelmed. But for me, I cannot quantify how happy this film made me feel. Because for me, it was the Justice League on the big screen. My first things as a kid were watching Superman and Batman, the animated series.
And then when they moved...
And when they brought them in together, and it makes up for that BVS for me. One of our dear listeners, Phil, has pointed out he doesn't like some of the character developments that they've made. They've taken certain liberties with it, and he's not quite happy with it, but he sees where I'm coming from. I fully understand people that don't like it, that you're entitled to your opinion. But for me, I had a lot of fun with it. Some of the CGI is a bit... and the story feels at times a little bit rushed, but that nice pace keeps it clicking along at an all right pace. It doesn't land any higher because I see where the potential could have been. And if they just pushed it about maybe 10, 15 minutes longer, I think it would have had a more solid film.
Now, the problem is I can't really commentate on Justice League myself because I have such a problem coming to see it. I'm not going to go watch it on my own because that's just a masochistic nature. And I thought, but I can't convince anyone else to go watch it. I try and explain I want to go watch it, but everyone's just like, I'm just going to miss it out on this one. So this is why I think it can't be a good superhero film because half the audience doesn't even want to go watch it.
I can't blame half the audience considering what they've had to put up with for the last 2 years. They've had, as much as I like the extended cut of BVS, I cannot justify the theatrical cut. I don't. If I'm watching BVS ever, I always watch the extended cut. Suicide Squad. Let's never remember that.
Yeah,
because
I just want Bruce Timm to come and take over. Come on, Bruce. You're the Kevin Feige before Kevin Feige.
So that's my number 4. Let's move to your number 3.
My number three is one that started off quite early on in the year, which I almost forgot was a 2017 film until I started researching.
Okay.
Logan.
Oh!
I have to put it in. I was like, I had some films I was like, no, they have to be at the top, but this one has to be. It is a good, solid film. It is potentially going to get an Oscar in some shape or form.
Yeah.
And potentially, as we were discussing, off mic, it was potentially Hugh Jackman is going to go up against Hugh Jackman for the Oscar.
I don't know if he'll get the Greatest Showman. I think they'll look at his body of work for this year and go, he gets an Oscar because he was Jean Valjean. But I think they'll give it to him for the Greatest Showman, not for Logan. Because comic book movie, and we can acknowledge that they can actually be good. Although
I think Patrick Stewart might get Best Supporting Actor because he plays a character with Alzheimer's, which is almost a very Oscar baity kind of role.
Yeah,
but taking a character that we love and making him suffer is a good analogy to anyone that's never had a loved one that's got dementia or Alzheimer's or anything like that. That's a good translation of what it feels like.
Yeah, and I put it a lot higher on the list.
I wanted to, but then it fell. But looking back on it, it fell into every Fox X-Men trope ever as well.
Yeah,
it has all of the same Bryan Singerisms as everything else, like fighting in a forest. Not sure why Fox really loves that.
Well, within the context of the story, it makes sense.
They always make a context for it, though, and it's just Still, not saying it's not bad. It is a really good film, and it's definitely one of the top 5.
My number 3 is Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Oh, go on.
Because I enjoyed it a lot. It was a love letter to Spider-Man, and it's the Spider-Man that I grew up reading and watching on TV.
Yes.
The reason it didn't land higher is because it's the 3rd Spider-Man in 10 years.
You make a point there, but...
And even though it's in the MCU, I'm like, how long will it be before you break my heart, Sony? I don't want to get too emotionally invested. I know that sounds like a stupid reason.
Yeah, I'm pulling my punches right now because I have to preserve my comments for later.
But I had a lot of fun with it. This is just because it lands at number 3.
Oh no, that
doesn't make it a bad film. I had so much fun with it. I felt the jokes landed when they had to. They gave it the emotional depth that I said Thor Ragnarok was missing. I actually felt invested in all the characters. I like the father-son relationship that they've developed with Peter Parker and Tony Stark. I like that Happy Hogan's just not wanting him around. I like everything that they did with Steve Rogers, even though it's essentially a cameo, but it's the funniest cameo ever. Yeah, I cannot sing the praises of this film enough. Michael Keaton is actually is probably one of the best villains that we've had in the MCU.
That's another top 5 best villains of
the MCU.
Yeah.
Well, it's obviously Loki at number 1. If you're going just by the films, not by the
yeah.
If you're going by the films, then it's of course it's.
Oh, but I really want to put the Kingpin in there because he is he's at the moment the greatest villain.
Yeah,
it's
a sad state of affairs when your TV shows do the villains better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had so much fun with Spider-Man: Homecoming. I was hyped for this film from the moment I saw like the first bits of trailers and all of that. Yeah, so that is where it lands on my one. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Thor Ragnarok.
Oh,
it's a film that definitely is at the top. It's a film that they decided to take what people weren't enjoying out of Thor and putting in something else that the Marvel Universe needed, which is life. It needed energy, and Chris Hemsworth does it with full unapologetic energy. I love this film because it is just something you can put on when you're feeling down. It's replaced the Muppets for me for a film like that will just cheer me up whenever. And you get everything up. Yes, it's not the best villain in the world, but what you get from it is an exploration of a universe that you only usually get in a D&D game. This felt to me like one of them. It felt this current phase of Marvel Universe has felt the most D&D like series of films ever, from Doctor Strange and all these magical artifacts to Thor, and Thor gives the life of what a D&D game is like. You see a storyline going on and the characters or the players just dick around before they get to the bad guy, and that's just fun to see.
Yeah, I didn't even make it on my list.
I thought not.
I saw a video this weekend that actually succinctly pointed out my problems with it. It's from a YouTuber called Jack Howard, and he explains that the reason it's basically that you remember that moment in Avengers where the Hulk smashes Loki.
Yeah.
It plays with your expectations. It's subversive. And they've done that a lot throughout the MCU. The problem with the Thor Ragnarok, instead of making that every couple of that joke a couple of times, they do it about 5 or 6 times in the same scene. And so you're getting invested in these emotional moments, and then it puts that barrier up. And for me, the most important thing when I'm watching a film is the characters. I want to get invested in these characters. I want to understand these characters. But I had that barrier always put up in front of me. And that is why I didn't like Thor Ragnarok. I enjoyed it. I give it the same score that I give if I was doing like a number system. I give both that and Justice League 7 out of 10.
Okay.
But for me, I had more fun with Justice League because as a person, I'm more invested in Superman, The Flash, and Batman and Wonder Woman. Whereas with Thor, for me, he's always been a character that I've gotten enjoyment out of, but I'm nowhere near as invested in.
Here, this is the thing. I think that Thor is going to. That's the last film Thor's going to do. This Thor, Chris Hemsworth, I think, by Infinity War is going to die. His character is going to be no more because of the arc that I've seen him at. Is this kind of he's done? It didn't say that as obviously as Iron Man 3, which is like, yeah, we're not going to make any more of these because they're too expensive now.
Yeah,
but the arc he's gone on is he's now Odin. And that's a kind of an end point. That's an end goal. One of the main 3 are going to die. I think Captain America's going to die at the all is lost moment in the film, in Infinity War. Chris Hemsworth's character is going to die quite early on to save someone like Spider-Man. And
I think
this is why I like this film being at top, because it's kind of a good.
Well, we'll do we can do another video that's a speculation video about who we think is going to make it through Infinity War, because we got the trailer at the time of this recording fairly recently. My number 2 is Wonder Woman.
I was wondering where I was going to be.
Wonder Woman for me is just a very fun movie. Considering what the uphill battle it had to come from, it came from BVS and Suicide Squad before it. So that's already a damper on it. You have, let's face it, no films that have really had a strong female character.
Yeah.
Especially superhero ones. They're notorious for it.
Yeah.
The characters that, let's face it, Marvel have, they don't use as much as they probably should. Black Widow, Gamora, and that's about it. And Wasp.
That are currently in there.
Yeah.
There's Captain Marvel coming.
That is kind of sad. They've had 16 films and it takes DC to make the one that is really good. I've really had... I cannot express how much fun I had watching Wonder Woman. Because I had... The problem with it, I walked into it, is I didn't want the nerds, like how people get really... There was like a controversy that Wonder Woman's boobs weren't big enough. I didn't want it...
What?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, guys.
I didn't want that to be what people were thinking about Wonder Woman. I wanted it to be... That's
the first time I've literally...
No, this came out like a couple of years ago.
Jesus.
But that made me angry. That made me very angry that was what the perception of Wonder Woman was as a character. If you've ever read any of her comics, if you've ever seen her in any of the media, you know how strong that character is and how amazing that character is.
And
the fact that is the thing that people take away from her really annoyed me. So I wanted this film to prove everybody wrong. I wanted everybody to see the Wonder Woman that we should be having. Gal Gadot does a really good version. The villain in this one is on par with a Marvel villain in that there's a woolly explanation in that.
It goes video game by the end, though.
Yeah.
I must admit
I will admit that. But the stuff that they do with her and Steve Trevor as well, they make a believable romance. I like the ensemble they create around her. I wish they did a little bit more with them. Like the Scottish sniper that can't snipe anybody anymore because he's got PTSD. I thought that was a really interesting thing that they didn't go into.
But the problem was it's not that they didn't go into him. The fact that he breaks Chekhov's rifle rule. Yeah. He doesn't do his job. He literally has a rifle that he doesn't shoot.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a no-no. That's the metaphor for if you've got a device in your story you keep claiming you're going to use, you have to use it, and they don't. This is worse than... This is copying... The story structure of it is copying almost one-for-one Captain America's, and down to the point that a lot of the beats of it feel like a World War II story, and then they downgraded it to World War I, and you can still feel that the structure is... This was originally written in World War II. You can just tell.
Well, to be fair, the character was originally created for World War II. In between, just before World War II. But, I mean... And
that's why I don't think it should be number 2. I think it's good, but the structure of it, I've got some fundamental problems with. Things like the logistical impossibility of having a boat, having even a magic boat, get out of the Mediterranean Sea, into the English Channel, down to London, without any significant impact into their plot. Like, that could have been genuinely a story of trying to get there. You could have gone through France.
Yeah.
I would have argued it'd be easier for them to get through France over the trenches and then go to the command center in France rather than to get to London.
I'm not going to lie, that is a big gaping plot hole. But
on the other side, it kind of... I understand the idea of having Wonder Woman go up over the trenches and just be triumphant, but it feels... I say disrespectful. It kind of feels like... Because it's an American writers, they don't really get what that was met like.
Yeah.
And even though it was a bit of fun, everyone keeps saying that, including my dad as a museum creator, saying it's just a bit of fun. It just feels off. Going, you know what? About 2 million people died here.
Yeah.
And I do like the metaphor. There is a metaphor there. There's 2 million men died there and it took a woman to stop it. But it didn't feel like it was a coming together to try and stop people, which would have been a good metaphor for her starting a Justice League. It was, I'll do it myself, which almost is a trope of women than make me a sandwich. It's the idea of
I can see where you're coming from, but
she could have done better.
Yeah.
That's a very nitpicky point I'll give you.
I like the world building that they do with this film as well. The Amazons, I actually believe in them. I like the way that the choices that she makes in this film actually affect her. What has happened to her in Wonder Woman, you can see affects her in Justice League because
the Greek world building is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's on par with the Asgardians in the sense of how much they've put time and energy in that. I'm so happy
that they use the Amazons in Justice League as well. And they justify them in such a really good way. And so that is why Wonder Woman lands where it is for me. I can see where you're coming from, though.
Yeah. It's good, don't get me wrong, it's good. It's just I've got too many story structures problems with it for me to complain. But the other side of it is they managed to nail Wonder Woman on the head, which is why it deserves to be there, because it's a character which I really wanted to see. They managed to nail that. Good.
So, your number one
is obviously Spider-Man Homecoming.
Okay.
Because Spider-Man Homecoming was everything I wanted from a Spider-Man film.
Okay.
It's got the interactions, because from early on, I turned around early on from seeing, after seeing Spider-Man, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 fail, or The Amazing Spider-Man's bit fail and being terrible, the Avengers came out and was like, this is the perfect time. This is the perfect event to bring Spider-Man in on, because the tragedy in New York's happened, everything's gone chaos and people need help. And basically watching this film saying, oh my God, it all starts with the incident. That's where Spider-Man starts. And seeing that, having Spider-Man come in, admiring Captain America from when he was young.
Yeah.
Seeing Tony Stark just helping him out, explaining. They managed to explain everything without having to explain anything. And the story was consistent. It felt like a childhood story with the Vulture. It didn't go into any of the tropes of Spider-Man. The only thing that was missing was J. Jonah Jameson, and that deserves a big entrance in itself. Because if I'm honest, I think they should just pay for J.K. Simmons again, but there's several other people that could do it, like Ralph Garman.
I want Ice Cube.
Ice Cube? Who?
Ice Cube.
Who?
Yeah, have you seen the 22 Jump Street movies? 21 Jump Street?
I'll have to watch them.
It's like their police captain. He's like a rapper. He's just so grumpy, and I love him.
That's why I think Ralph Garman would be good. Listen to any Hollywood Babylon. Listen to how he complains about things. He could put on a New York accent, throw on a mustache, and he would be able to take J.K. Simmons on for his money. but that's why this is why it's good. I can't stop. I watched it the other day, and it got better. I enjoyed it again for loads of subtle details I didn't notice the first time, and that's why I like it, down to the point that Tom Holland will always be Spider-Man, be the best version of Spider-Man, because he is Peter Parker offset, in the sense of he can't hide this. He's not good at hiding secrets, which is a problem with Peter Parker.
Yeah.
And he's got this very befuddled personality that is adorable to see. Down to the point where, if you've ever seen an interview with him where Benedict Cumberbatch has to kind of babysit him in the middle of the interview, and that is the dynamic of the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's coming in befuddled and crazy, and then you've got the big wigs looking after him. That's really cool.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from. I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying,
and I understand that you've got fears behind the screens of that Sony could screw it up, but the reason why this has to be at number one right now is because I want to say that this collaboration between Sony and Disney has done one of the greatest things to come out of 2017, so that whilst those deals are going on this week with Fox, that they kind of, if the more that the fans say that collaboration was one of the greatest things ever, the more they'll think, you know what? I do think that we should have Wolverine in the Marvel Universe.
Yeah. I'm still skeptical of that. But let's jump to my number one, because we got to...
What is yours?
My number one is Logan.
See, that's a good transition, right?
Logan
Right?
is my number one because I think it is just a phenomenal film.
Because it's not a superhero film.
It's not a superhero film by any stretch of the imagination. It has superhero elements in it.
Yeah.
But it has a man who is at the end of the line, who has lost everything in his life, is looking after his old friend who has Alzheimer's, who has the power of a nuclear bomb. And then in comes this little kid that reminds him of what he used to be and how he has to nurture her and train her to be better than him. And that represents all his hopes and his dreams. And it's this big final goodbye to Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, the journey that we've been on for about 17 years, 18 years.
And that's why I think that would be the best film to say to Fox to go,
yeah, that is my the perfect, the way that I can't put this into words, but if you look at the how you should have ended for Logan, just watch that, because that perfectly encapsulates. They do One Day More from the end of Les Mis, but with X-Men characters. It's not even how you should have ended it. It's just a goodbye.
Do you know the film Chef?
Yeah.
Where that's basically Jon Favreau's essay of of his experiences as a director in the Marvel Universe. Yeah. Logan is the metaphor for the Fox universe, and the idea of their style of films getting old now.
Yeah.
But it's the little girls, the potential of what X-Men could be, which is why I think that would be good to turn into the Marvel Universe. Yeah, I agree. I think you've convinced me that should. So then,
the top five. I mean, at number one, we've kind of agreed is Logan.
Logan should be, because, like we said, it's a good superhero film because it's not a superhero film.
Yeah.
It's characters we love that just happen to have superpowers. It's a love letter to the whole nature of the genre.
Yeah.
It gives people hope about what things going forward. It is horrible, brutal, and it's pretty much the filmmakers going, you want this?
Yeah.
Is this what you want? To see all of your characters die? And
yeah. So, good. Number one is Logan. Number two, I think we can put Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yes, Spider-Man Homecoming, because it is always going to be the plucky underdog. It has to. But because the fact that we've got these two Logan and Spider-Man, they've managed to get to their pinnacle.
Yeah. They've reached the peak.
Yeah.
I think number three.
Now,
we've both got Wonder Woman on the list.
I'll give you, these are the three films we've both got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman makes it to number three on our list because it's the one that we both agree on that should be on the list. The next two are going to be where it gets interesting. So number four, you've got on your list. You've got still.
I've got three of my five, and the other two are Thor and Batman.
Okay, I've still got Justice League and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 with an honourable mention of Thor Ragnarok and Lego Batman.
So, I don't think that Justice League, for one moment in the Justice League, doesn't quantify it to be a good film.
Well, there's loads of different little moments. I'll say that.
But if you think of it from the context of the whole, rather than the little moments, if you have to eat the whole cake. You can't just.
I still had fun eating the whole cake. I'm not going to lie. I had a lot of fun eating that whole cake.
But the fact that even like myself and most of the actual superhero going audience hasn't seen this film to the point where it's bombed.
Well, it's not bombed. It's broken even now.
Which isn't what was meant to happen with a film that.
Well, it's made a marginal profit because it was 300 million budget, and then you add another 100 on top of that for marketing. It's made about 600 worldwide, so it's profitable. So it's not a bomb. It's not the success that they wanted, but it's still profitable. I will argue that. But I can see where other people are coming from. If we put at number 4 Lego Batman.
Yes.
because I enjoyed it, but it didn't quite make it on the list. But I can see where you're coming from with it.
Because we're both with the rest of the films we've got, the thing we've said about them is they're fun.
Yeah.
And Batman, that film was just childish fun. So.
Yeah. So at number 4 is Lego Batman.
Yes.
Number 5 is where it's going to get very interesting now.
I still say that Thor is a strong, consistent film that is just a joy to watch.
See, I'm pulling for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 now.
Ooh. Now,
because we both had
try and convince you have to sell it to me.
Because if you're looking at what the sequel to a film that stays consistent, builds on the characters, and helps further the story of the wider cinematic universe, you've got Guardians of the Galaxy. All Thor really does is it doesn't push any of the Thanos stuff until towards the end. It doesn't really do a lot for the characters, and it's the one film out of the Thor films you could actually skip and it wouldn't affect how you look at the rest of the MCU. Other than one thing where he loses his eye and the Tesseract. Whereas Guardians of the Galaxy, there are more stakes involved. And what happens in that film, you can see how it will stack up with the rest of the MCU. It does further the wider story. As
much as personally I do like Thor, I think you've got a point where I think Guardians of the Galaxy could be more a consistently good film. Whereas... Well, it's you because you're leaning on the emotion. That film is more of an emotion. Those two films have gone flipped around.
Yeah,
Guardians of the Galaxy was a fun film, and Thor was a dramatic film, and now it's the other way around.
Yeah,
Guardians is a dramatic film, and Thor is the fun film.
Yeah.
So I didn't like the swap with Guardians, but I did like it with Thor. So I don't know.
Because if Thor Ragnarok did a couple of the emotional bits better, I would have no problem with putting it on the list. But because the bugbear for me is how they treated Asgard at the end.
I can.
And the way that they treated the Warriors 3.
I wasn't happy with the villain as well, and that's because she just felt
Kurt
meaningless.
Russell, he's a delightful villain. You can see where he's coming from. He's by no means the best villain that they've had, but it's an interesting take on him. And he's an actually really messed up character. And the stuff that he's done personally to Peter, it just pushes it for me.
Yeah. All right, then. Guardians of the Galaxy is 5.
So Guardians of the Galaxy is number 5. So let's go through our top 5. So right from 5 down. So at number 5.
Number 5.
Is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Woo. Number 4.
Is Lego Batman.
Number 3.
Wonder Woman.
Number 2.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
And at number 1
is the Logan movie, which
Woo.
is... So, thanks for listening, watching. Great. Write down in the comments, tell us how wrong we are or how right we are. Probably how wrong we are, because...
I think we've got a good balance there. We've got a good balance. But yeah, tell us what your 5s are.
Write down in the comments down below what your number 5 is. And give us a like, share, subscribe. Like us on Facebook, at The Nerds Kingdom. And that's a bye from me.
And a bye from me.
Bye.
Bye.